Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a fabulous guest with me, Erica Sterling Bush. She is one of our community members. She is also a great participator, also one of my students. And today, what we're going to do is learn all about this lady, her journey, and just really dig in. She's been all over. She's a lifelong learner, but just get inspired with just her story and her journey. And hopefully we can learn from her lessons if you're just getting started or if you're seasoned. I think she'll have a lot to contribute. So, Erica, tell us, what do you do? Who are your target learners? What drives you?
Okay. Currently, I recently got hired at LaSalle University, that's located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the U.S. And I started in March as an instructional designer. We work with the LMS called Canvas LMS, which is, similar to Blackboard, to help create online courses for our undergraduate and graduate students. I'm also an adjunct professor. I teach web design and web development. I actually will teach my first class in the fall. So I'm preparing to do that. And for about 20 years, I've been a web developer, and I kind of just stumbled into it. It wasn't my first, choice for career. I actually graduated as a chemical engineer.
That's awesome.
Chemical engineer turned web developer. I got a job at GlaxoSmithKline. They said, we're looking for a chemical engineer with web development skills. And I couldn't believe it because I kind of self-taught myself web design. I was totally infatuated with the internet and web. And during, I got that job, they laid off like 90 people, and I got hired at a place called Brookwood Media Arts. And Brookwood Media Arts is who introduced me to Authorware. And I became an Authorware power user.
Wow. Okay.
I just loved it.
That is rare, but you know what? I love it. That's how I got introduced to, like years ago, Authorware. It was robust, but so much work. Wow.
Yes. And Authorware was so interesting to me and complex. And I decided to kind of went to the web design track, but I kept that e-learning in my mind because I was like, I'm going to come back to this. And that's what happened. I decided in 2014 to get a master's degree in instructional design, we call it instructional technology management at LaSalle University. I did the whole master's degree online. And I went back to it because I just felt like e-learning is so ingrained into our lives, looking forward. Like we all learn different ways. And I just felt like, eventually people are going to do everything mobile and web and, all other types of mediums. So I just fell in love with that part of it. And I wanted to just keep learning more and more and more. Like what can be done? And then I noticed sometimes when you create learning, sometimes it can be boring. And that's when I kind of stumbled upon this broken coworker scenario that just blew my mind. It blew my socks off, how it mixed mediums and how engaging, how it sucked me in. And it really just made me like so excited about the field and wanted to learn more and more.
So was your gateway drug, it was broken coworker?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It's amazing. It's amazing. When I look at you, I want to laugh again too, because I just remember you with the blonde hair and just being really seductive.
That was like the best and the worst decision I ever made. Just acting in my own e-learning demo. But yeah, and actually it's funny because years later people be like, hey, wait a minute. That's you, lady.
Yes, I did do a double take when I first saw you with the darker hair. I was like, wait a minute, this is the same woman.
So this is so cool. I can't believe you're an Authorware person, because
Yes.
there's very few of us left, us and Michael Allen.
Yes.
Whom I love. I love that man.
Yes.
So you get into, so you're doing your instructional design master's, and then And then you come back into e-learning. How does that work? Tell us.
What happened was I decided to do, the master's, and, the technology has changed. So people are doing Captivate, people are doing Storyline 2, people are doing Lexdora. And, during the process, I kind of, got intrigued by Storyline 2. So I was looking for examples primarily using that. I thought that was a great platform. And it kind of got me back into, because our master's degree program focuses on the theory. So, that's a big deal too, because I had always thought, oh, I could do e-learning, not knowing it was this whole pedagogy and, years of research that was behind it. Like, oh, there's a right way to do this, or there's proven practices or best practice that you can incorporate that will make your e-learning, really meaningful and have learning transfer. And I was just, it just blew my mind, like, wow, the research has already been done, and, the tools change, but the theory is there. So that's how it kind of came full circle to kind of see, different tools, but, now I can build learning with the theory behind it.
Mm-hmm. I always talk about that, like the fact that if you have a good pattern, it doesn't matter what the tool just augments a good strategy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
It's kind of interesting though, because just before we jumped on and started recording, you said something like you have a web background, and
Yes.
the web is so much further advanced
Yes.
in terms of interface and usability and all those things. It's user experience, right?
Yes.
So for you to kind of bring that into your work, how do you think that impacts how you design and what you do?
Yeah, initially, especially going into the master's degree, I was intimidated because most of the class was comprised of trainers and teachers. And I'm like, I'm a web guy. I'm a web person, I'm like, how am I going to compete? But actually, I felt empowered, and, I was impressed that my projects came out really great. And, people were like, how did, she knows how to do this. She knows how to do all the bells and whistles. And then I learned, there's platforms like WordPress that have, e-learning plugins that you can put into a website. So to me, I see a complete marriage or real close association between web and e-learning. To me, it's just a website that has functionality that you can, teach a course in. In fact, when I'm building a course now to teach juniors and seniors how to build websites, and I'm purposely going to put in there, we're going to build a e-learning site, because to me it's a different type of website. It's no different. You have a nonprofit, you have an e-commerce, you have an e-learning site. It's a website that has learning tools to help a learner, anything from multiple choice, drag and drop, true and false, into scenarios, creative scenarios.
My favorite.
Yes.
But you're right. And I think there's so much, like you said, it's a great marriage, and we could borrow so much because so many people have already paved the way for great interaction. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
So, okay. So before you joined, why did you decide to join Designing Learning Scenarios? What was it for you?
Well, the master's took you like to a certain level, and I still felt like I wasn't confident, and I think that was one of the buzzwords in your program, where you were like, become a confident e-learning developer and feel secure in your learning. Because again, I was coming from the web, and I felt like I didn't have this teacher background, so I was like, okay, I gotta I gotta beef up my skill set. And I saw Skill Agent, and I'm like, wow, this is for me. I love that you had the Facebook group to accompanying the program. I had heard about Teachable. I saw that your program was on Teachable at the time, and I was just like, wow, this is a great resource because, you know, you can definitely learn things, but I think experience and kind of having a mentor, you know, really seals the deal and helps you get further in your goals. You know, it's always great to learn from other people, you know, especially if they have a little bit more experience.
I agree with you there. So, so you saw Broken Coworker and then you're like, hey, that lady, she's the same lady.
Yes. I sort you out.
Cool. I love that. So, you found Broken Coworker was like on the Elearning Examples.
Right.
I
It was
see.
on Articulate Storyline 2 has a list of, you know, a showcase, and it was definitely like top of the list. And I kept saving the link. I even have it on my own website, ericasterlingbush.com. I put it on there as like great, because I like to collect great examples. And that definitely is at the top of the list because I've never, to this day, I still haven't seen anything like it. I see variations. I see people use video and they put the integrations on the video, but to have the graphic design and the comic book style married with video and also the you know, scenario piece where it's multiple choice and giving you a summary of your choices. You know, I love that too. Like kind of like that feedback. You're getting feedback on your answers of why your answer was right or wrong. You know, I love that. You know, like I said, I could talk about this all day.
Well, by the way, everybody, so we are working on putting more out there. I mean, my goal, my vision is to have like 10,000 people out there put out their own Broken Coworker, you know, just like their own, not the same thing, but, you know, something that represents them and their ideas, their ethos, what they think is a great experience. That's the goal. So you're helping. I appreciate you sharing that link because that's all I want is for it to inspire people. It's awesome.
There's so much possibility, you know, especially like with legal fields. Like I had a person who was a professor here who teaches law, and she asked me about, you know, something about sexual harassment, and I was like, oh, you got to see this Broken Coworker. It's perfect for your class. So there's a lot of possibilities, you know, yet to be discovered.
Cool. So now when you first joined, did you have any hesitation? Were you like reluctant or? I
mean, you know, initially, you know, when you get something, and especially if you have to pay for it, you're kind of like, do I need this or not? But you know, I felt I had to invest in myself, just like I did with my master's degree. And I felt it was just, you know, the right move to make. Again, I felt the program was so robust. I mean, it had different, I mean, you had interviews, you had, you know, job aids and, you know, so many tools. You know, I used the e-learning project plan, you know, like I've been approached, of course, by different people who have said to me, you know, hey, can you start this project? And I'm like, hey, well, here's a form you can fill out, you know, just to get their wheels turning, because a lot of people have ideas, but, you know, you have to kind of, you know, map it out, do your needs assessment. I mean, oh my God, you have that 59 question thing with the, it's like a needs assessment. It's so many, I mean, it's just chock full of resources to really, like you said, make me feel confident, make me feel like, you know, I feel like I don't have imposter syndrome. I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm not a webmaster trying to be an instructional designer. I am an instructional designer as well. And, you know, I do feel like it just was just a great resource. So, you know, and when you had said you were going to shut it down, I was so upset. I was like, no, you know, so I'm so happy like you came back, you know, and revamped it. You know, that's really upsetting. So, yeah.
Well, you know, it's so funny because you know, when you say you have imposter syndrome, when I launched it, I was like, yeah, I don't think people are going to find this useful or valuable. And then I had somebody actually get in touch with me after I shut it down. And they were like, you know, that course that actually changed my life. That made me want to be an instructional designer. I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So then I went and I watched back, like I checked out all the video. I'm like, this is pretty good.
It is. It is. I mean, I would just play it in the background. I could be washing my dishes and I'm playing an interview. You know, I had my headset on, and I mean, I just think it was passion. You know, I think you put a lot of yourself into it, and I was just, you know, like again, really impressed with the level of detail and you know, how much stuff was included.
Cool. Oh, I'm glad. The fact you mentioned those resources, like the 59 questions and the project planner, which I use personally.
Yes, yes.
That's so cool. I'm so happy. That's because, you know, you put stuff out there. I'm like, is this anybody going to use this or read this? I know at least one woman who has.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
I definitely have used it. I had a version of it for websites, and you know, and it's like a little quick questionnaire to get people thinking. And this was like, oh my God, my e-learning equivalent right here, already done.
Fabulous.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's so much better to have a starting point, because even if you modify it, it's like you got the first draft, and then you can just say tweak it to your needs, right? Which is what you want, right? To customize it to you.
Exactly. And you have to ask the right questions. And and you have questions there that, you know, maybe I wouldn't have thought about if I was, you know, just starting out on my own, or, you know, maybe my learners or my, you know, my client wouldn't even thought about to ask, you know. So I love that it's already right there.
Was there anything about it that you were like, this isn't what I expected, or that surprised you?
Again, it was more so the amount of content, because I was like, I think it's a lot there. So, you know,
it's a year's worth.
Yeah, you have to kind of bite it off in bite-sized pieces. You know, there would be times that I look at stuff and I wouldn't look at it for a few weeks and I go back, and I almost felt like sometimes I felt like it was like a reference where I could like kind of skim through the table of contents and say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. You know, so it's a lot there. You know, that was really my I think my biggest reaction was like, oh, this is a lot of content.
Yeah. It's funny because somebody else I was talking to, they said, yeah, you dripped it out. And I didn't necessarily like that. And I'm like, really? I mean, there's a lot to drip out. So right. It's like, yeah, but I would just binge watch. And I'm like, that's the worst way to learn. You don't binge watch stuff.
Right.
So you said that the resources, the project planner, let's say the 59 questions, were most useful to you. Was there anything else that you found that was actually any concepts or ideas that you come back to that are like, oh yeah, that's a good one?
Yeah, I think I really liked the interview with Bob Mosher, I think his name was.
Yeah.
I love interviews. So, you know, I feel like that's where you learn those little things that you can't read in a book, you know, and just tools of the trade. And, you know, that really was important to me because I felt like I was right there, you know, talking to him as well. You know, I felt like, you know, you pulled together a few people that, you know, their interviews were just priceless. You know, I think, you know, that piece too, I didn't expect to see that. I thought it would just be job aids. I didn't know you were talking to other, you know, people in the field, you know, name dropping great books, great resources, you know, that kind of stuff. I just live for that. So that was another like pleasant surprise.
I love that. I actually learned so much from those interviews. I was like, I can't believe I get to talk to this person and pick their brain, right? And then I'm like, everybody else gets to do this too with me.
Exactly. Yeah, that was not expected.
So, there's my blower guy. Hope it's not too loud. Now, what were so coming through to like, you know, one of the things about being learner-centered is that it's more work.
It is. Right?
So what keeps you going when you could just stick to bullet points and PowerPoints?
Well, a couple of things. I think Learning Center to me is really important for learning transfer, and you because you realize that you can't teach a face-to-face course the same way you can't transfer face-to-face materials over to online, and that's what I think the common mistake a lot of people do. So you have to realize time is limited and that you have to scale down some information. So by, using, your learning objectives and kind of, basing assessments on that, I think they call it backwards design, that whole approach is crucial because you have limited time, you have limited resources, you can only, show so much. And, when you're focused on the learner, it kind of eliminates a lot of the stuff because a lot of people come from the attitude of I'm pushing this stuff, I'm pushing all this stuff. I want to learn this, and that, and it's just the wrong way to go. So you're right. It is more work, but I believe if you want to call it the ROI or the outcome will be better for the learner. They're going to retain more information. They're going to know what they need to know. They're going to, walk away with things that, I can actually, what they say, learn by doing. I can do this when I leave here. So, that's the goal.
So Erica, what actually gets you to like, what's that moment where, have you had that moment where you're like, oh, that was worth it. That was worth all that work?
Yeah. I mean, I get a sense of pride when I complete a job, of course, because some of these projects can take up forever.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. And just knowing that my learner is going to retain some of the information, especially if I make the learning engaging. I didn't think that was possible at some point. And I know there are certain pieces of material that are hard to make creative and, and memorable. But, if I could do something that like this person walks away from it and they still know some of the information later, I feel like a job has been done. Even for myself, it's kind of changed the way I receive information as well. Like I'm looking for the bottom line. I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I do after receiving this training? So.
Like, what's the real value for you? Yeah, I love it. And that's really the perspective for adults is like, how can you make it valuable? Because we're all so goddamn busy and distracted, right?
Exactly. We have so many distractions. And like I said, everybody is on a time clock.
So what kind of supports did you have on your journey? Like you've been, like where do you find like you go for help? Is it friends, family, online?
I try to surround myself by other creative types. So I have very close girlfriends that we meet up on weekends. We go to coffee shops, graphic designers, web design, instructional designers. One of my coworkers, we're really close friends. We even go to the gym together. And, because you have to kind of have work-life balance. You have to know when to take a break. But you have to stay plugged in as well. You can't just like, if this is something that you're passionate about and serious, you have to take time to learn your craft well. So, I try to get books. I try to look at podcasts. I try to tune into websites, go to conferences are another one. If there's a conference that is piques my interest or is local, especially local ones that are inexpensive. I try to, hit them up, especially when it comes to the money.
Oh man, the conferences are almost, I think for the average person, are completely unattainable.
Yeah.
Because they're really trying to just milk the corporate dollars. Because
exactly.
Like, especially, I don't know what it is like but universities, they don't have tons of money to spend, right? Exactly. So yeah, so you're like, what's the one thing I can go to this year? What will you pay for?
Exactly. We are like, or they can only send one person. That one person has to go get all the notes and tell everyone else. But yeah, you're right. Like we have to literally pick who goes per year, and then, like I said, if it's under $50, then you may have a chance that they'll reimburse you. But yeah, and that's rare. So I the web is definitely my friend. As far as like going to stay up to date and stay plugged in, because chances are I'm not going to be able to travel. And then I actually had a health scare. So when I had that health scare, I definitely relied on the internet because I wasn't able to work for like a year and a half. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know what I'd do without the internet. I think if it just ever got taken away, we'd be gone. Like,
I know. What if they charge for the internet? That's gonna be crazy. I mean, we charge in a sense, but like if they really charge, like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's gonna become a human right. It's gotta be.
Yeah, exactly.
So now when you're implementing strategies or sharing things with clients, do you find resistance? Are there people who are like, yeah, that's crazy, I just want PowerPoint?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely meet all types of people in this field. And then, like, again, that's what I compare it with web clients too. Same thing. You have people who have specific ideas. I met a person the other day who told me they hate video. They're like, I hate video. I don't have time to read video. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I couldn't believe they said this to me. And I'm like, well, the rest of the world likes video. I had to kind of come back.
Oh, totally, it does. Wow.
She has no time to look at a video. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Everyone loves video. What are you talking about? So you will meet all types of people. My biggest weapon is my needs assessment. I love needs assessment. I love to throw that out there. As soon as they start talking, as soon as they start talking, I'm like, let's do a needs assessment.
Right?
Because that way we have real data. That way we can take some surveys. Because a lot of people too, they have their own opinions, and they think, oh, this is what we need to do. Focus on this. And I'm like, is that really the core issue? Let's look at some pain points. Let's talk to other people and see what they get buy-in, get their input. So those are the things you have to kind of combat these clients that want to give you pushback.
Start with the facts, right? You're like, let's get the facts.
Exactly.
I love it. I can't. It's funny because I think we think that we got resistance only in the L&D industry, but you're saying web, and I'm like, yeah, those people are everywhere.
Oh my God, I have people arguing with me about having like how many buttons for the navigation. Like when I have 10 buttons, I'm like, you can't do that.
Right? Like, please don't get into the design with me.
Yes.
You're not an expert. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay. So did you ever feel like when you're trying to implement these the strategies or trying to really sell people on like the best experience, do you ever feel like depressed or discouraged and just felt like, I'm just going to do what they say because the fight's a pain in the butt?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe you have to choose your battles wisely. Like, you can't fight every point. Like, sometimes this is like not worth it, but the ones that I'm a passionate person as well. So if I just see something that I just cannot live with, I will, speak up. Like, look, we can't do that. Sorry. Especially like with design elements as well. Like, come on.
So you got a line, right? You're like, there's things I will negotiate on, make concessions,
Right.
but not this.
Exactly.
That's why you hired me, right? That's why you hired me.
Exactly. I have to remind them who has the experience.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So when you, like, what's a strategy, let's say you have for dealing with, let's say you have a difficult subject matter expert, which a lot of people struggle with subject matter experts. Do you have a tip for people?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to give them the speech about collaboration, and make them feel like we're coming together as a team. I don't know more than you. You are the subject matter expert, but I am the expert when it comes to creating the instruction. So we're coming together, and I want to pull the best out of you and make this instruction work for your target audience, and vice versa. I need you guys to work with me, and I think that's key. I think some people have this attitude of, I'm the SME, and here's the work, do it. See you later, and that's not the case. So I stress to my clients that we are collaborators. And have to work together. Collaboration is key. I respect you. I hope you respect me. And can we come together to make something beautiful?
I love it. Have our ideas, have babies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. You're right.
Good. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's like synergy when it works well,
Yeah, right. Because it does complement, like the stuff that we do, it really complements what they do if it's done right. Yeah. So how did you know you had, like, when you said about confidence and things like that, how do you know when you've succeeded? Did you have a moment where you were like, I got this?
I wouldn't say it's all the time, it still pops up sometimes, but I do feel like, especially when I got hired here, I felt really good about it because, I made a career change. Like I said, I went from chemical engineer to web developer to instructional designer. And, sometimes that can make, some people are fearful of changing like that. And, thinking they're too old, I'm getting up there and it's too late for me, So I just felt like knowledge is power. And the more I educate myself and definitely learn from people who do it well, that's one of, and again, a same concept in web. I always look at the best designs and I say, I want to emulate people who do work like this. So same with you, I sort out, I went on Twitter, I followed like everyone who I thought was, big names in e-learning, and Instagram, same thing. And I started to look at things and look at, always trying to curate, what do I like? What's my style? What things do I like and what things do I dislike? And, kind of gravitate towards the things that I like.
It sounds very much like that, that book by Austin Kleon, Steal Like an Artist.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you get inspiration from other people and then you remix it to make your own.
You find your own style. Yeah. I don't want to copy you, but I definitely want to be inspired by you and make my own twist on it.
Yeah. And I love that, because that just makes especially if you're seeking out the best, because why in the world would you try and start from a blank page, right? Like when somebody's already done the work for you, just build on that.
R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Oh, that was what R&D stands for. I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
But yeah, you're right. But just finding good examples and, trying to make them your own and figure out what your personal style is. Like you don't have to, you have to really decide, what direction I go, because it's so overwhelming. Again, you can't learn everything. So you kind of pick things, these are things that I think I can learn and be good at. These are things that are nice to know, and I'm gonna put them over here. And if I have time, I can go look at it, and then looking at things that this is something that I totally wouldn't do, but I want to look at it and see if I can learn something from it and maybe, use it in another way or find an instance. I might have a client that needs that,
So what advice would you have for somebody who is like you're transitioning? There's a lot of people out there who are like moving from teachers to instructional designers. Now, I don't know how many chemical engineers are actually doing this transition. I think it's a small percentage, but what advice would you give to somebody who is trying to get into a new profession and they're later in life, or they feel they've passed the boat?
I think you're never too old. That's number one. I firmly believe you're never too old. And I embrace this notion of lifelong learning. I think that you just have to take baby steps too. Like, it may be, you attend a conference or you read a book, you're doing something towards your goal. You kind of decide, where do I want to be? And give yourself some goals. Give yourself a 5-year goal, a 1-year goal, a 3-month goal. Goal setting is very important to me. And kind of like I had decided, I was like, I'm going to become an instructional designer. And I said, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get a master's in it. And I'm going to get a job in it. And I was kind of tickled when it actually happened. And I'm like, oh, this happened.
See what happens when you set a goal, right?
Exactly.
So cool. So
when they have so quickly. Yeah.
Well, and it's so interesting you said goals, because I think a lot of people dabble and they don't. I love that. You're like, I'm going to be an instructional designer and I'm going to get a job in it. How long did it take? How long did you do this?
It happened kind of quick, because I actually was, I had went through this healthcare where I stayed home for about 1.5 years and I was just freelancing.
Yeah.
So I did a couple of e-learning projects and web projects. And then I said, I'm going to apply, to some universities and see what happens. And I put like 2 in, I didn't hear back. And this one, I didn't think, they called me for an interview and I kind of like, okay. And then I went for the second interview and I was like, oh, this is getting serious. I was like, when they called me for the second interview, I was like, this may happen, And I was actually kind of like, still kind of smug. I was like, how much does it pay? I didn't even act like I didn't care about the job. And sometimes when you act like you don't care, that's the ones that come through, So kind of pleasantly surprised that I was hired. But, again, I made a commitment that this is the track I wanted to go at. So, I just think stick to your goals, set some goals and make them, give yourself some time frames, like I want to find something. I was determined to get a job in this field, and then also expand my web business to incorporate course building. Not only do I do websites, I build courses, and I do it as a freelancer as well. So
that's awesome. So, okay, let's say you're stepping back now. Let's go back 10 years. You're able to give yourself advice. What would it be? I'm going to quote you on this. This is going to be a card out there. It's going to be tweeted.
That's a good question. What would my advice be? My advice would be, don't get discouraged when life doesn't go your way, because you can always reinvent yourself. Like I feel like we're, sometimes we think we're going to go one way and then things happen and we're completely derailed. And that's what happened to me. Like I thought, I never thought I would have any issues, with my health, and something happened and I was like, whoa, this is not going how I'm planning. But just know that, you can always bounce back, as long as you're alive, you can bounce back. And it made me a better person, because it made me appreciate that, what's the most important thing is like, work-life balance and happiness, and working. Like, it's not a job when you love what you do. It's not a job. It's like, I giggle because I'm like, I'm getting paid to play.
That actually is going to be the quote. I giggle because I'm getting paid to play. I absolutely love that. Okay, so people are going to want to learn more about you, learn about your work with you. Where should they go? What should they type into the browser URL?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Erica Sterling Bush. And also I have a website called Erica Sterling Bush, Erica with a C, ERICA, Sterling like silver, and Bush like the president, former president, ericasterlingbush.com. You can reach me there.
Fabulous. This was so fun. And I so enjoyed learning about just your journey, and also just how you're using all these things and incorporating them. Your skill set is so robust. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of success in your future, my lady.
Thank you. Thank you for selecting me for an interview, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Like I said, you are I'm a big fan of yours. You're one of my idols.
Yay! I'll take it. Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will put the links to connect with Erica underneath the video. Woo! All right, lady. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.